And there's also a new critical
of
video about H3H3.
What's going on, Dolphin
the
enthusiast?
devil.
It's me again,
Disc
Dr.
golf.
Deep Throat, here to swallow the entire load of drama this week because this shit has been hot. Not just with YouTubers arguing with each other and being upset, but also there's been some signs of war in the chess community that I've been paying very close attention to. It's been wild. But for this video, I'm going to focus on H3H3 and Keem drama because that is the one that most people are dedicating their lives to at the moment, literally putting their lives on the line, ready to lay it all down for the sake of defending their YouTubers. It's been pretty extreme. I mean, you could go to the best steakhouse in the world and not find beef like this. This is some USDA prime internet beef. And 2 days ago, I made a video talking about it and joking about it, mainly just giving my perspective on what could happen in terms of why it could be dangerous for the platform. And since then, my shit has been twisted more times than cotton candy being made. I don't know if maybe I didn't frame what I was saying correctly, or if people are just blatantly trying to twist what I was saying, but I figured I should at least defend myself and explain it a little bit better, especially following Ethan's nuclear fallout video. To start off, it's not like Ethan and I are on bad terms. There's no bad blood between us. We've talked in DMs. He even agrees with my main point. And we're not like enemies or anything at all. I feel like on the internet...
Of course, Ethan agrees with him as well on the fucking sponsorship shit. They're all just like never going to admit it. They're never going to admit it. I just want to ask Moist Critical, Ethan Klein, every single person, like, what do you do? What do you do? How do you get some accountability for people who are not ever held accountable? Like, what is it? I just want to know. Maybe they have some good ideas. They could. They're all content creators.
As soon as someone disagrees with someone else,
like, how do you deal with someone like Keemstar? Like, how do you deal with someone like Keemstar? If it's not like, if the mere mention of their sponsorship is like, oh, too far, buddy, chill the fuck out, then what do? Or rather, do you not have a problem with what Keemstar does? That's the question. Because I feel like these people are the first to say, like, Keemstar sucks, fat doinks, he's terrible, he's awful. But then they're like, well, we shouldn't do anything about it. Like,
perception is they have to hate each other, and even other YouTubers feel that way. But for most adults, you can disagree with someone. Not every friend that you're going to have is going to be a sycophant that's just going to be a yes man and agree with everything. So it's not like Ethan crossed his arms and was pouting like, Charlie, we were friends until you had a different opinion than I did. That's not how it happened. He was understanding and, like I said, agreed with my main point. I'll explain my main point again. My main point was never we shouldn't hold people accountable and sponsors are some sacred, untouchable thing. My point is, by making it a common thing, it hurts everyone on the internet, not just with sponsors, but anything. And not to hit you with the old wiggle finger and an I told you so.
Isn't this literally where, like, I don't disagree with that take. Yeah, it will hurt innocent people. But isn't this where you also look to set boundaries then? And also, yeah, it is already a common thing, okay? It is already a common thing. It happens. And it happens to it harms innocence as well. Or it harms people that you would consider to be innocent, or some people don't consider to be innocent. So isn't the actual problem, how do we make sure that there are special cases where we have to do some sort of accountability and not necessarily completely fucking try to never have any sort of accountability or attack any instance of an accountability? Like one metric for accountability, one measure for accountability?
But within the last 3 days since the first content nuke, Keem has lost the G Fuel sponsorship, which you well know, but Ethan's also lost his Old Spice sponsorship, mainly because people in Keemstar's fanbase on Twitter spearheaded this attack on Ethan's sponsors, and Old Spice caved almost immediately, and that was fueled because Keemstar would constantly retweet them saying, please don't do this. And once that genie's out of the bottle, everyone's gonna hop in. You can't just put that shit back in, you can't just put a cork in that wiener hole.
Yeah, that was such a fucking... That was, by the way, a total piece of shit fucking move by Keemstar to be like, please don't. Kept retweeting like his fans that were like, let's go after Old Spice. Please don't do this. It's so fucking scum. He's such a scumbag, dude. He's so good at being a scumbag.
Get the genie back in there. Now,
see, notice how I and Moist Critical also understand that, like, one was a warranted ban, or at least a warranted sponsorship removal, whereas the other one wasn't. So I guess we do, after all, have some way and some capacity to look at this in a fashion where we're like, there's a difference between good things and bad things. Okay?
People know it's effective, they keep doing it. So Keem retweeting, don't do this. I didn't condone attacking his sponsors, as he's retweeting the person who's organizing it, attacking Ethan's sponsors. Well, it led to more people attacking his sponsors, and Ethan lost Old Spice. It also happened to another YouTuber named Gundam, where a popular streamer named Pokimane mentioned his sponsor, and a lot of her people attacked his sponsor, and he lost his sponsor deal there. So it is...
Okay. Once again, let's look at the situation. Keemstar retweets Ethan Klein, retweets someone who is saying Ethan Klein is a Red Spice or Old Spice or whatever the fuck it's called sponsor. So Old Spice goes and takes the sponsorship away. You can say simp incoming all you want. Do you think I'm a fucking idiot? Do you think defending Pokimane on the internet is a good thing to do? What are you, out of your mind? Here's what I would do if I was a fucking pander donkey, okay? I would turn around and tell you, yeah, Squad W, yeah, it's really fucked up that Iman, a big streamer, wanted to take away the sponsorship of a little YouTube content creator. I'm not going to do that because I'm going to be fucking honest with you. What was the person doing? Well, I went and I looked at what the person was doing. He was just picking fucking random Pokimane fans and making fun of them, calling them fucking ugly, calling them like dumb shit. And Iman turned around and said, if I was a sponsor, like I would be turned off by this fucking video. Like I wouldn't want to put my name against this next to this brand. Okay? And for people who are saying like you, yeah, no shit, dipshits. I don't have any fucking sponsors because I'm stuck with some of you fucking shitters in my chat. So in that circumstance, like her brief mention of someone saying like, I wouldn't work with this sponsor if this sponsor came and worked with me, now that I know like what they're sponsoring, is I think a totally warranted fucking thing to say. Why are we muzzling one side and not the other in any of these situations? It's so weird that like that guy is allowed to get a fucking sponsorship on a video that is like just fucking brutal and shitty, but then the person who's at the subject of the video turns around and says, yeah, that's kind of fucked up. Like, I wouldn't want to work with this fucking sponsor. And all of a sudden, she is the fucking villain in this circumstance? Why do people always overlook the original situation? He wanted to sponsor on the Poke video because he wanted the farm views too. Yeah, like, this motherfucker knows that doing a Pokimane sucks ass video and Pokimane's fans are fucking Sims video is going to do well. Anyway, God, you are such a simp. Yeah, that's not what your fucking mom was saying last night when I fucked the shit out of her, okay? Shut the fuck up. All of these fucking loser, pasty ass, bottom of the fucking barrel, swamp, donkey, little shitters in the chat who have never fucked a girl in their entire lives calling me a fucking simp when I could be a total piece of shit and women would still want to fuck me need to chill the fuck out, okay? Shut the fuck up. When daddy's talking, shut the fuck up and listen, okay? That's how it works, right, guys? Oh, yeah, I defended a woman on the internet. Now that woman is going to fuck me. Shut the fuck up, idiot. Jesus Christ. Leave your fucking basement.
Is becoming something of an epidemic. Something that I said is bad for the whole platform and not just with sponsors. Eddie Burback had a popular take on Twitter that a lot of people seem to agree with. His take is as follows. Who decided YouTube sponsorships were this untouchable sacred thing? I would understand AdSense or Patreon or PayPal, but sponsorships, especially for wealthy YouTubers, why is this some new rule that you could never call into question the ethics of sponsoring someone? He goes on to expand a little bit, but this is the main point. This is the thing I was talking about where it's very short-sighted to think that this is only going to happen to sponsorships and only going to happen to people that deserve it. Eddie Burback is another person I'd consider a friend. However, I do have a different perspective on this, and I don't think Eddie's going to hate me.
Okay, this is a slippery slope. And then compiled on top of the slippery slope is yet another slippery slope, which is that it's going to extend to other issues and like lead to deplatforming.
Hasan has the worst followers, I swear to God.
It's like double slippery slope. Okay, there are always going to be unintentional consequences where innocence might get hurt.
You don't.
Okay, people that didn't deserve it might get hurt.
You love your father, the devil.
With that fucking
Hey,
mentality,
Hasan,
we would literally have no laws.
Nicole. My
okay?
dad said he won't sponsor you anymore after hearing your comments.
we would never have any laws. Like,
You don't
it's like
love
saying,
the spirit of
it's like when
justice.
people try to tell me
You
like,
love your
oh,
father,
if
the
we have
devil.
any sort of
Hasan saying he would
sensible
trade
gun
us for
control.
sponsors
Okay,
is
shut the
like when
fuck
Mr.
up,
Krabs
donos.
sold
Jesus
Spongy Bob
Christ,
Soul for
dude.
62
What
cents.
the
Sajid
fuck? Why are you guys riled the fuck up? This is like when leftists try to tell me like, oh, if we have sensible gun control laws, like that's going to disproportionately harm black people. It's like, yeah, that is a yet another side effect. Okay, that is another consequence of a larger systemic problem. Okay, you seek to eliminate that problem when there is marginalized people in voice chat, for example. Thank you, Ricky Sanchez, with the 10 tier 1 gift subs. When there are marginalized people in the voice chat, for example, you don't seek to eliminate voice chat in its fucking entirety, because that would be a silly fucking thing to do, right? You get that. You understand that, right? Just because marginalization occurs or discrimination occurs in the voice chat doesn't mean that you should ban voice chat. It's a separate problem that you need to address. Just like when you turn around and say, well, this person in this situation has gotten no accountability, so here's an accountability for you. You don't turn around and say, we need to ban any sort of accountability metric because then innocents are going to be hurt.
For it or anything, at least I hope not. But I don't see why he's drawing this distinction between this happening to sponsors and it can't possibly happen anywhere else. It absolutely can. Like, let's say I was mad at you, Eddie. You know, Eddie's drinking milk and I hate milk. He's making me upset by drinking milk. Okay, I see he's on Patreon. Fuck this guy. I'm gonna hit him where it hurts. So then I gather a group of people together and I have them all report your account on Patreon for, let's say, racism, because
this is a separate problem. He is using the existence of a separate problem to say that accountability measures across the board are bad. This is something that people talk about with deplatforming. Okay? Deplatforming is even worse than just taking away a fucking sponsorship of yours. Okay? It's infinitely worse. Deplatforming is much, 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 much worse. So there is a higher barrier for deplatforming people than taking away their sponsor. There are different levels to the severity of what you can do. And by the way, they do this already across the board. Both the right does this and the left does this all the fucking time. So I don't know why YouTubers are acting like this is a new phenomena when it's been going around since the beginning of fucking time. We've had Salem witch trials.
These companies, they don't watch drama videos. All they care about is the quantity of complaints they get if it makes them believe that it's hurting their brand. So I get a big group of people together and I just have them say, look, this Eddie Burback guy is a racist. Get them the fuck off your platform. If you don't, I'm boycotting. I'm not coming back. And this is exactly what happened to Ethan's sponsors. This is what the Keem base did against Ethan's sponsors. They just accused him of racism and all these things until Old Spice dropped them. There wasn't really any proof, and they didn't even really share any videos or anything. They just said, this guy's a racist, get rid of him. And Patreon specifically has shown they have no problem dropping people for almost no reason. They have a history of doing that occasionally, so this is a very real thing that could go from just going after wealthy YouTuber sponsors to just going after people's Patreons if they don't like them. I also don't really understand why Eddie highlights wealthy YouTubers as if it's only not a big deal because the YouTubers in question here are wealthy ones. I don't really see why that matters. If anything, that should make it even scarier that the wealthy YouTubers that have had these deals for years are now losing them. So then what chance do the non-wealthy YouTubers have that do manage to land a sponsorship deal have of keeping it? It's something anyone on the internet can do, and it's something that's happening right now. There's a massive thread on 4chan that's constantly growing with people targeting big YouTubers and targeting their ads. It's basically a fucking hit list, the main three being Philip DeFranco, iDubbbz, and H3, and they're trying to prove how much power the people have over these YouTubers they don't like's lives. And that's the point I was making in my initial video. When you show this group of people, these bad actors, how much power they can have by just getting enough of them together to go to an advertiser for someone they don't like, it's a disaster for everyone on the internet, because it's not just sponsors. They can do it to Patreon, they can do it to PayPal or AdSense, they can do it anywhere. All it takes is enough people with this same narrative, like this guy is a bad...
He's making these scenarios as if the sponsors themselves don't have a brand and can't differentiate between false and true accusations. They can't. They can't. And platforms can't either. That's why what we need to be mindful on is educating sponsors and educating platforms, communicating with them, showing them that manufactured outrage is not always equal. Okay? They literally can't. I've worked on the brand side of things. I can tell you with a certainty that they don't know. They think any sort of like bad press is just, oh fuck, all right, we got to drop this guy.
Person to have them dropped. I couldn't decide if even talking about this was the right move, since as a couple other people pointed out, even mentioning it leads way to a few assholes doing it just for shits and giggles, but ultimately I feel like most people are justifying how it happened because it was Keemstar, and then some people don't like Ethan, so they justified it against Ethan. But I think it's just overwhelmingly negative no matter what, because even if you're using it against people you don't like right now, it sets the precedent where anyone can use it against anybody, and it just becomes a very common tool that eventually leads to a lot of innocent people being hurt. So I felt it was important to at least make people aware of just how dangerous it is to go down this path. Now, maybe I didn't frame this argument correctly in my initial video and my point wasn't clear, because a lot of people seem to think that I was just absolving Keemstar of his sins, just throwing, holy water and blessing him with a pass because he didn't attack sponsors like Ethan. Like, yeah, Keemstar can be an asshole, but this is what Ethan did, as if I was just excusing everything Keemstar did that was bad, which I wasn't doing. I was just highlighting what I thought was a bad thing that came from this situation. And ultimately what ended up happening is Keemstar, it turns out, was also attacking sponsors well before anyone else. In Ethan's follow-up video, he pointed that out. And of course, people were acting like I was supposed to be omniscient and know everything about Keemstar's past, from his fucking SAT scores to the first time he went trick-or-treating as a child. I just didn't know that until Ethan pointed it out. I didn't leave it out on purpose. So yes, Keemstar was attacking sponsors well before any of this happened, and just because he was first doesn't mean that it's okay to do it now. It doesn't make it right. It's still bad. It's bad that Keemstar did it, it's fucked up, and it's fucked up that it's happening now. Now, Ethan himself is not on the side of attacking sponsors, as he makes clear in the follow-up video he makes, and honestly at this point, I get the impression Ethan didn't even mean to start something like this. I think maybe he was just making jokes about G Fuel just for some jabs at Keemstar for fun that kind of got out of control, and especially on a subreddit getting out of control as well, taking it to extremes that now 4chan is taking to, and Twitter as well. There was a dude on Twitter that admitted to committing a fucking crime. After Ethan was dropped by Old Spice, there was a vigilante who took down Old Spice and was holding the website hostage until they made a public statement bringing Ethan back. So shit's just getting out of control, which is exactly what I was saying I was worried about happening. That was the precedent I was worried about. In fact, it's gone worse than I thought. I thought it was always going to have to be a YouTuber coordinating it. But what's happening is just Discord groups of people on 4chan, and just groups of people on Twitter are coordinating with each other to attack the brands of YouTubers that they don't like. And from what I've seen, and I've seen quite a few screenshots of this going on, they're not even presenting evidence. They're just saying nasty things about the YouTuber and saying why it's hurting their brand. And it's working. As we just saw with Ethan, they weren't even presenting any evidence. They were just saying bad things, and they dropped them. Because the companies aren't looking at evidence. They don't have like a department of drama.
He's right about this part. He is right about this part. But again, separate problem that you should deal with separately, okay?
Super sleuths that are going to go through every video to make sure it's legitimate proof that this person is bad. They're just getting an influx of these really heinous emails saying that the person they're sponsoring is bad, and they're just dropping them on the spot because to them it's safer that way. And that's why it is such a big problem. It is something that can happen to people that don't deserve it. Innocent people that maybe just a group of people don't like their content. To defend myself, a lot of people said I only cared about my own sponsors. Like, oh, I see where Charlie's priorities lie. All he cares about is his own sponsor money, which I think is super fucked up because I don't use sponsors. The only things that I ever have sponsors on are the Moist Meter and the podcast. All of my personal content I don't have sponsors for, and the reason I have sponsors for the other two is because those are my friends. That's a whole team putting those productions together. That's supporting multiple people. The majority of my income comes from Twitch, from streaming on Twitch and the generosity of the community. And I mean, I fucking make videos with dildo trick shots, which occasionally Adam and Eve ask if they can sponsor, and I say yes to that, but that's the only piece of personal content I ever have a sponsor on. So it's not like I have a horse in this race where I'm trying to protect my own group of sponsors. It's simply I'm worried about
saying he has sponsors because he has other people that he's like helping out by paying them through sponsorships. It doesn't matter. I mean, he still has sponsors, and he understands that, like, yes, sponsorships will harm his content creation because it'll harm his friends and by way himself as well if those sponsors were revoked. So yes, the point still stands that he has sponsors, and he's worried about having those sponsorships removed because there's some dipshits on the fucking internet who are like, fuck you, Moist Critical. The difference here is that, like, what I and this is genuinely something I do not understand. Like, why are people so fucking quick to be like, we are the same? Keemstar and I, we are the same. You know, we say fucked up shit all the time. Like, that's not the same. building their entire fucking career. Like, Moist Critical is a YouTuber. So I know for a fucking fact, without even looking at any of his fucking videos, I know he said some dumb fucking shit. And he streams on Twitch too. There is no way. There is absolutely no motherfucking way that he doesn't have a library of dumbass things that he has said that could be put in front of him to get his sponsors revoked. Same with me. Same with me. I have a fucking library of content you could just sift through to be like, you fucking suck. You said this, this, this. Some of which will be clipped out of context. Some of which will be in context. Okay? We are not, we're not fucking robots. Like, it's impossible to be a take machine for 12 hours that only churns out shit that is successful from a brand point of view. I probably will never be brand friendly. Okay? I'll never be. Never, ever, ever be brand friendly. There's a massive difference between, hey, let's not go after any random fucking person, and like, let's not do anything for Keemstar. Like, how do we hold him accountable? If he were to mention, maybe he will in the last 3 minutes of this video, if he were to mention like other alternate ways of going after Keemstar to hold him accountable so he can just chill the fuck out and stop doing what he's been doing his entire life, then that would make sense. Okay? But when you don't do that, it's dumb.
What happens in the future on YouTube, because if this continues to be the norm, companies are just going to stop sponsoring these channels. And a lot of channels that I like to watch are high production channels that need someone like a sponsor to pay for the production costs to put on. But if these companies start to learn like shit, no matter who we sponsor on YouTube, we're still getting a little PR nightmare on Twitter, it's not worth it. They're just not going to sponsor those people or sponsor this platform anymore on an individual level. So that's why I was talking about it. I also can't believe I even have to say this, but obviously the tactic as a whole isn't some brand new genius creation of going after sponsors. It's something that's been done for a long time, just not on a YouTuber personal level. This was, well, with Keemstar apparently being first, this was the first time we've seen it being this effective and now this widespread. That's what I was saying. While as an idea, it's not the most, genius thing ever, it doesn't take some supervillain mastermind to come up with the idea of, wait, what if I just said some mean shit about this guy to a sponsor? Like, that doesn't take the smartest person in the world to think of that. That's not new. But seeing it actually employed on a YouTuber individual level is something that is new and now seems to be something very effective that's
No, it's fucking not. And you already admitted that it's not. Because you already admitted that you didn't know, but Ethan Klein already exposed that Keemstar had done it. It's happened so many times. I'm so confused, like, why people are saying it's so new. Didn't he just contradict himself? Like, I don't get it.
Spiraling out of control where it's not YouTubers doing it. Now it's just people even unassociated with both groups doing it just to fuck people up. That's what I'm saying is new. And to get even bigger brain scheme here, to see even into a deeper dystopian future, I'll go ahead and speculate. A lot of these people are younger. I'm going to go out on a limb and say the majority of people doing this and reporting this acting like some kind of fucking Batman of the internet, I'd say they're like 15, 16 years old. These are young people. As they get older and they see that what they're doing has a huge effect on people's lives, they might employ this tactic outside of the internet into the real world where, maybe they have a disagreement with someone on the internet and they take it to their actual job and they get that person to have ramifications for something they just disagreed with on the internet. And we've seen that from, like I said, middle-aged Karens reporting Twitter people to their employer and getting them fired. So if we're teaching people that are this young that this kind of shit is effective at hurting someone you don't like, they might take that even further, even outside of the internet. That's very speculative and very well could not happen, but like I said, this can have far-reaching consequences like that because these are people that are still learning, they're still developing. These are young minds that are forming, they're like a sponge absorbing all kinds of shitty internet memes and ideas. So if they're learning that, hey, this person I don't like is getting fucked because of this, I'm going to start using this on other people I don't like. It could be bad, even outside of just internet shit. And that's what I wanted to talk about, why it is so bad if you go after people's sponsors or just general livelihood, because it's a very slippery slope. And I know a lot of people hate that term, but it really fucking is, because these companies aren't looking at evidence. They're looking at numbers. These companies aren't like, shit, we have to keep up with the latest drama with our clients.
Yeah, he clocked in the 10-minute barrier already. What do you do? What do you do with someone who's just like going round and round accusing people of pedophiles, accusing people falsely as pedophiles, like trying to fuck up everybody's bag Like literally, if your main point of contention here is like, oh, you're gonna fuck up people's livelihood, then who's worse, motherfucker? Keemstar is the #1 person at fucking up people's livelihoods. I just don't understand. Like how? Don't go after sponsors. That's really fucked up. Okay, well, like not only has Keem done that, but he's doing that over and over again. He's done it to me. He's done it to everyone. If your reason for disagreeing with what H3H3 had done was that like innocent people are gonna get in trouble and lose their fucking money and lose their livelihoods, then please, for the love of Christ, let's have a conversation about how to deal with the serial pedophile accuser, Keemstar.
Clients, all right, let's get the...
When you don't
love
mention
the spirit of justice.
What
you
to do,
your
and you don't
father,
mention a
the
follow-up
devil.
or an alternative,
Forgot to stop
and
priming
just
you all.
attack.
I hate you so much, Hasan.
Just attack. So the way that you're going after someone, you're functionally defending them.
HR department on this, look at all of these 9 exposed videos. We have to make sure they're legitimate. That's not what they're doing. What they're doing is they're looking at, holy shit, look at all of these emails telling us that this person is bad. Must be bad, we're dropping them. It is not worth the disaster we're having here. They're just looking at numbers. There's a lot of complaints. They're saying, fuck it, not worth it, they're gone. That's how it's working, and that's why it's bad, because it doesn't even need to be a bad person. Anyone can coordinate that shit, and it leads to a disaster.
Okay, we're done. Okay, I'm gonna tweet at Moist Critical. It's not even a debate. I legitimately look. Moist Critical is a big content creator on YouTube. He's got 5 million subscribers. Like in times like this, what we are supposed to do as content creators is get together and be like, what the fuck can we do about this situation? Do you not have a problem with what Keemstar is doing? Yes. If you have a problem with what Keemstar is doing, what are your suggestions to stop him from doing what he is doing?